Evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, November 17th Town of Monroe Board meeting. Can I get a motion to open up this evening's meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Poole will second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Ben LaSalle's Eagle project. So it was essentially completed yesterday. Great project by a wonderful young man. The food pantry is outside on the patio. It's chock full. Chock full, and there's backup. The young man did a phenomenal job with the organization, the dedication. We went to 250 houses last weekend to drop bags off, and he got back, I believe, just over 100 yesterday. So it was great. They did have some extra money left over, so what they did is, for his project, they ended up stocking the refrigerator with eggs, butter, milk. So, and the perishables are to the right. So it's a great project, and hopefully he'll be here on December 1st, which is our next meeting. Smith Clove Turkey Trot. Dory, you want to?
Sure. It is that time of year again for the Smith Clove Turkey Trot. That will be held on Sunday, November 23rd. Race time is at 9 a.m. You can register online, and you can also get some more information at smithsclovepark.org.
American Legion.
Yes. Yep. So the American Legion is doing a food drive at American Legion Post 488. Any non-perishable items can be brought to the American Legion, which is on Lakes Road. They're collecting canned vegetables, beans, sauces, cereal, pasta, dried foods. Please don't bring any fresh items. There's no way for them to store it, or wherever it's being donated to, they can't take that. If you have any questions, you can give the American Legion a call at 845-783-3965, and they will collect that food from now through to the end of the year.
Okay. Next up is the 2025 Toys for Military Tots. Those are being collected for children of Orange County children of Orange County disabled American vets at the 105th at Air National Guard, deployed or stationed at Stewart Air Force Base. All donations are for Orange County military and veterans. You can drop the toys off at a location here in the foyer. We're also working with the school district right now. Dr. Eric Hassler was kind enough to start a campaign at the school. Warwick gave about a busload of toys last year, so he was challenged, and it's
Challenge accepted.
Yes, and it was accepted. And it's a good thing. So, and the final drop off for toys is December 12th, and then there'll be they'll be going to WTVQ on the 15th. So. 2025 Household and Hazardous Waste and Operation Safe Scripts, that pharmaceutical collection events, that's being done by the county. It's at the maintenance garage at the 21 Training Center Lane in New Hampton. It's across from the Mid-Hudson Psychiatric Center. It's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, November 22nd. That's this Saturday. And they accept just about anything, but what not to bring. Electronics, computers, home appliances, tires, barbecue, take to your local transfer station. Household batteries, dried latex paint, smoke detectors, ammunition, fireworks, explosive. Please do not bring those, along with radioactive materials, unknown gases, controlled substances, and pathological material. So they'll take stains, varnishes, paint thinners, wood preservatives, resins, rosins, spot removers, fluorescent bulbs, pharmaceutical drugs, rechargeable batteries, etc. So it's on our website, correct, Madam Clerk? Right? Okay.
Monroe Cafe, December 6th, which I believe is a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Repairs will include
I'll just speak into the mic, please.
jewelry and cleaning repairs, stitching and sewing, knife and tool sharpening, laptops and tablets, support, simple repairs, and bicycle tune-ups and basic repairs. Special thanks to Beck's and Cyrus Jewelers.
And Dennis Ford for doing a great
Dennis,
job in
yes.
organizing it, so,
Signs are out. I
Yep.
see some signs out there.
yeah, exactly. Okay, next up is public hearing. I'll make a motion to adopt the 2026 Town of Monroe budget.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Discussion.
Mary?
There are a couple items in there. I'm just going to touch on my favorite water districts. Water District 15 is Smith Farm. They are not serviced by the town, but yet they are being asked to contribute to the interfund transfers. Years ago, it was only like $19,000 that they had to contribute. It's up to $39,000. I really don't feel it's a proper use of those funds, since they do not obtain any services to be included in the interfund transfers. I realize that's going to increase costs for the other districts, but again, it's not fair to those residents. Just, if you're not using a service, why are you paying for it? So that's my thing. Water districts. There are other line items that I felt were excessive, that the increases were too much, but I think Councilwoman Richardson has all the line items listed, and the one I really want you to address is that revenue line with the negative number.
Yes, that was under, do you have the exact?
It's B000-1001. It's a negative $566,788.42. So I never seen a negative number in a budget like this. And the line item is
Page number,
page number 9. It's for real property taxes. Is that-
I think it's an error I've never seen. I mean, that might have been a calculation that you're doing a comparison data, but that is supposed to actually be the levy, was my impression. And I've also heard from other professionals in the community that this is not supposed to, they've never seen it.
I want to go through the rest of the lines. I think that'd be easier.
Okay, so this is an inappropriate budget. It's a lame duck budget. We are leaving an untenable tax rate that's a -2 town-wide, with reductions to administrative services and support services essentially to the town board, and all projects that would be at the discretion of the town board, making it impossible for the future incoming town board, or nearly impossible rather, because we're going to do our best regardless to try to serve the public with what we are left with. But I'm going to go through why it's a retaliatory budget in our opinion, because just comparing the 11-6 budget, which was mostly completed before the election results, the preliminary budget that was submitted 11-6 versus this budget that has to be adopted by the 20th, I'm going to point out the changes. So as we all know, the elimination of police services on line B0003989 4500 00. There's zero funds at all. There's the removal of the $750,000 for what we were sold was a necessary sheriff's contract. We're in negotiations with the village for an IMA where we're receiving $2.3 million estimates. There's zero. There's not even $25K to $50K for a police needs assessment study. So that would be my motion. Brian, can we even make motions now that he's tried to open the motion because we were going to make motions to amend this document.
Yes, you can make,
Okay, so I want to make a motion to at least allocate funds for a townwide police study, and basically, the range that I was given from Paul Arteta today was anywhere between $25,000 to $50,000. Mary, can I get a second for that motion?
Bingham will second.
Do you want to call discussion for that?
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Pool, nay.
Richardson, aye, and then they just put on the public record they have no interest in assessing townwide police needs. So they've also eliminated the park stipend, leaving no employees responsible for our parks, and that was a subtraction of $10,894. So I want to make a motion to restore the park stipend to $10,894.
Bingham will second.
Question.
Can you just repeat?
Motion to restore the park director stipend to $10,894, and that, for the record, Valerie, is A711010300 to $10,894. Mary seconded?
Only thing.
Discussion, so we have a second, right?
Yep, yeah. The only thing I could tell you is Anne Marie wanted to take a lesser role and not work as many hours, so that's why.
This
it
doesn't
would-
have to do with Anne Marie particularly, it has to do with getting a parks director that would
Have a
adopt the
parks
same
director.
duties.
We have a parks director. She's cutting her hours back because she's a brand-new grandmother. That's why the money went down.
That doesn't
who's
make
gonna-
any sense that we would accept a giant step down in responsibilities without discussing this publicly with the board, and that there would be a gap that wouldn't have to be filled in services. And why were we able to
Anne
have?
Marie's been doing this for 27 years,
Yes.
and she knows what she can manage with less time, which would be less money.
Okay, can I interject a question? So if she is not going to do it, you still need somebody to do it, and you
Yes.
still have to pay them some sort of a salary. So why would you cut that line to zero?
How is that taking a lesser position with the parks if the line is zero?
Are we not going to be able to have the leagues go and use the soccer fields or play baseball?
That's the choice of the next.
Also, it is the choice of the next administration. It's not a civil service position. It's an
Correct.
appointed position. So if we want to appoint someone who fulfilled the same level of service as Anne Marie did before a step down, which was never discussed with the new administration, we would like the full range of budget to provide our school kids and our sports parents and everyone who uses our recreation services the same level of service to the town.
So before you go through every line that you're talking about, you will have the opportunity in 2026 to amend the budget.
Do you not understand that every amendment will come from fund balance instead of the tax levy?
Well, you asked me to withdraw the fund balance. You said
What are
it
you
was too
talking about?
much. And I withdrew the fund balance.
You can change the tax levy.
At the time she
How are you-
asked that,
how are
there
you-
there were monies in that line for the park services.
Yes.
So why would you think that now, all of a sudden, you're going to put that line to zero? And not
Have a negative
not have somebody do
2%
that
tax levy.
work?
Because we had to cut in order to make it a decent increase, or it happens to be negative in the town. It's minus 2.26%.
That's because you
Which
made
is not the
unrealistic
first
cuts.
time that we've had a negative for the town. This is not
But
the
I
first
don't
time
think
that the
we've
village
ever had a
taxes have gone
zero.
up.
We've never had a zero for the parks. Have we ever had a zero? No. We realize the residents use those facilities, and we want to provide a
So-
service to them.
So there's money in contingency. Use
There's
that.
30,000, that's another thing. You cut contingency by $20,000.
That's only in the A fund.
It still was there. So that's on my list. So
All
this
right.
is the motion in front of us. You're going to tell the public, you're going to say,
You know.
we're not going to fund the same amount to our
Listen.
parks, or even give us the opportunity to assess whether we need to fund that. If it's not used, it returns itself to fund balance. If we decide that Anne Marie is doing a great job with her reduced hours, then we don't need the stipend. But this is unrealistic to think that you could just reduce services and that the new incoming board who can appoint this position would accept the reduction in service without discussion.
Call the question.
Can someone refresh my memory? It
It's
was
to restore the
restore it.
stipend, so if you
Yes.
want a Parks Director stipend, you would vote yes.
Yes, aye.
Scancarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Pool nay.
So they've put on the record that they are defunding our parks, and Richardson,
That is-
aye, to restore the
That
stipend.
is not true. And you know
So
what?
then vote differently.
You know what, Councilwoman Richardson?
So, salary cuts to
Losers
key
always make excuses
employees.
instead of trying to find how to get over an obstacle.
You know,
Okay, so
I'm the
who
winner
lost
in
that
this
election?
situation, so that doesn't make quite a lot of sense.
What's your next?
Salary
what's your
cuts to
next
key
point?
employees like the secretary, to the supervisor, and the senior center director, which makes hiring qualified replacements with comparable experience more difficult. So it would mean a quality drop to administrative services and essential senior services to the town of Monroe. So the secretary to the supervisor, Valerie, that's line A001220. 102000, and that was cut by $10,000. So I'm going to make a motion to restore the salary of the secretary to the supervisor to $63,215 as it was in the 11-6 budget to maintain experience and quality for competitive hiring process.
Bingham will second.
Discussion. So, again, this is another exempt position, and it's customary that when you have exempt positions and that you have a new administration coming in, the exempt employees often leave the building at the same time as the previous administration. You would not bring somebody on with little experience and pay them the same amount of money that the person who was in that role for almost 10 years was making.
Except I just said we could hire someone with comparable experience and it would maintain competitive hiring so that there would not be a quality drop for the town of Monroe residents. You are making it so that we would have to hire someone with less experience than the current employee.
I would agree that we need to hire qualified people, and I agree that it should be increased, as Councilwoman Richardson had said.
I think it should
To
be
be
maintained,
competitive.
and if the person has less experience and we cannot find comparable experience, that will be addressed by the incoming board, and they will not be paid the same amount as the outgoing employee if they aren't comparable. However, we will not be able to find anyone comparable if it's reduced by $10,000.
But just so you know, when our town clerk, Val Bitzer, was elected, what was the reduction from what Mary Ellen made, which obviously included longevity, like this position does?
About $10,000.
So who was the board who did that to her?
It was.
Wasn't done to her. Wasn't done to her.
Who was it? Who voted on that?
When were you elected?
2017, so it was Mary, Rick, you, Mike McGinn.
Mary voted for it, because I checked.
You
I'm
voted
sorry,
for it,
but
too.
we're now discussing
So-
Valerie's experience as a clerk, which she had none, and no offense to you,
Oh,
but...
no,
she
she did.
was deputy
She did have
clerk.
experience.
Yeah, but she was never an elected main clerk, and I'm saying that there are people out there who have been secretary to the supervisor previously, and again, you're leaving no room for maneuverability. You're saying that we're just going to pay someone the same amount, and it's going to be in a political appointee. We're saying if it's not comparable experience, they're not going to receive that. However, you're removing that option for competitive bid to
If-
receive somebody experienced.
If anything, when Val was deputy clerk, she did more work.
That's fantastic. We're
Than the
now getting
person
off
who was in that
topic,
seat. Would
and
you
we're
agree?
talking about someone
Wait,
else's
can you let
personal...
Councilwoman Hull
No,
speak
no.
instead of interrupting?
I mean, I'm actually just trying to preserve on time here because we've kind of stepped into a strange rhythm of the dynamic of dialogue, so I am not looking to,
So what's your next point?
where were we?
So that we can preserve
We
time.
made the motion, and does anyone else have comments on the motion before it's voted on?
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Pool nay.
Richardson, aye, and they put on the record that they do not want a competitive hiring process for the secretary to the supervisor who is main administration staff. The Senior Center Director, Val, that's line A00762010101000. The Senior Director's salary is cut by $13,000. So I would like to make a motion to restore the salary of the Senior Center Director to $69,666 to appeal to qualified aging care and program professionals and keep the role competitive.
Bingham will second.
Question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Full nay.
They've now put on the record that they are reducing the quality of care to our seniors in the town of Monroe. Richardson, aye, to restore the salary to the Senior Center Director. The Budget Officer, that's line A00134010101000. That's been reduced completely to zero from $18,500. This line is traditionally given to the budget officer, who is the supervisor, and it's pulled from the normal salary, making it so that the elected position that I ran for is now 20% less. Was that going to be the compensation that I kept for myself? Likely not. However, it can be reappropriated for another budget officer or to fund a comptroller or a consultant on budget matters while we adapt to this role. So I'm going to make a motion to restore the compensation for the budget officer line so it can be reappropriated at the discretion of the board to $18,500.
Bingham will second.
Call the que-
Discussion. I remember a discussion of cutting that, no?
Yeah.
I remember a discussion led, Mary, I want to say it was led by you, that we should cut the budget officer stipend.
Didn't mean to cut it to zero.
What did you want to cut it to?
you
You're
said-
talking about a year ago, so I think I said to cut it about $5,000.
Now
We
it's
can work
okay
with
at
that.
18.5,
Excuse me?
but now it's okay at 18.5.
You want to make it 15.5? You want to make, what number would you prefer?
I prefer what's in the budget. I'd like to adopt the budget.
At zero, okay. Well, we know where you stand.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Full nay.
They've now confessed on the record that they do not care about the financial health and the budget accuracy, which we already knew from the quality of budget that was submitted in the first place this year by the supervisor,
Val, can you?
by
I'll let her
voting
finish.
against that. So I'm going to say Richardson, aye.
So Val, could you just make note that after every comment that Councilwoman Richardson makes in the minutes that we, not true?
It's not how minutes work.
It's not your words, it's Councilwoman Richardson's words, and
Okay,
Oh, no,
what's the
that we
next one?
oppose it, that we oppose it.
They
is
know
really
you
what I'm
oppose it.
saying.
They also know you oppose a budget officer stipend and correct budgeting.
What's the next one?
All right, cuts to legal services, which are totaling about $70,000 reduction. So Valerie, and I'm going to get you this later, just, I don't know if you want to keep writing these or if I should just
No,
get.
that's fine.
Okay. So just the legal services category, which is B0001420, that whole section. So I'm going to make a motion to restore the legal retainer to $160,000, along with the non-retainer legal to $50,000, as well as the bond counsel to $25,000 to keep professional service quality and competitive bidding for the best town attorney that the town can get, because this is what we're already paying and budgeting, and I don't expect, unless we get a town attorney with not the same amount of experience or size of law firm, that we would need less cost. So I'm just going to make that motion.
Bingham will second.
So, Tony, what have we been billed so far?
So through
legal services.
Through August, we've been billed $78,812.
So let's make it 80.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
For what?
2/3. 80,000 for legal services.
Sorry, you have to state which line, because it's different lines have been cut here.
Okay, no, hold on a second.
Legal
I believe I found
contractual
What page are we on?
in the retainer, page 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's there.
So that is going to be line B, 0001420, 4500-00, the retainer. So that went down by $40,000.
Yes.
Through to August, which is 2/3 of the year, we've been billed $80,000. So another third of the year would be an additional $40,000. We are right on track. $120,000 is right on track with what the legal services of Fierick Nugent McCartney.
I think we sourced prior historical data, and this was retainer?
Yes, so
It's retainer,
$78,000.
So
through
how
to-
are we confusing retainer where we over budgeted in the first place? If that's if it's a retainer agreement, how did we accidentally adopt a higher retainer last year?
No, we didn't, we left it at the same because of the prior year in '24.
It says for 2026 preliminary, it's 120,000.
Correct.
Yeah,
And it said for 2025, 160,000,
Yeah.
and for 2024, it was also 160,000.
Yes.
Correct. And we had multiple lawsuits that were involved in that.
And there are several lawsuits still out there that are being either postponed or, they're not done. There's still lawsuits out there. That number that you said, 78,812 in the 2025 year date, that can still go up. There's still another 6 weeks or so where we can still have lawsuits brought before the town, that we'd have to defend ourselves.
If you don't have to defend it from now until the end of the year, you basically write in a response.
Right, but in writing a response, he's going to charge as well.
You know what? No matter what we do, Mary, we're going to be wrong.
I'm just
I
trying
can-
to
I'm
grapple
not done
with the
speaking. I'm
step
not
down.
done speaking.
Did you explain the step down?
We try to do it by numbers to justify it, and we're wrong.
I still
So,
haven't heard why
I'm
it
gonna
was
I'm going to call the
160.
question.
Wait, but we haven't discussed the other line items because I motioned for all three.
Thanks.
So the non-legal retainer, what is the explanation that it's been reduced by 10? That is 1420, 4010, 00.
Reduced by 20, not 10,
Right.
Okay,
20.
sorry, yeah.
because we haven't spent much in there. Look at what we spent so far.
we haven't spent any of it.
You haven't provided the board with more than 1 year of year-to-date totals, so we don't have historical year-to-date totals to know why you padded this section in the first
We
place.
didn't
If we're not,
pad it. We didn't pad
you were
it. Nothing's
looking at the
padded.
2025 adopted,
You want to
and you're
pad it by
saying,
increasing all these. That's what
I'm
you want to do.
increasing it to what you had it. You had it at 160,000,
Right.
and you had it higher. I'm
I had it at
restoring
160
from
because if you
literally
go
a few
back,
days
it would-
ago.
I'm done talking. Go ahead.
I'm just asking for the same budget that you've had going for, I'm looking at your historical budget numbers and you're telling me that I'm trying to pad the numbers. I guess you just told on yourself. I don't know what to say.
What is your next item?
The same, the restore the bond council. What's the issue with the bond council? Why have is it a 25? It's negative, I want to restore it to 25,000. The 1424,000.
Bingham seconds that motion. Well, I
Well,
guess it was a
There's no
combination
year-to-date
motion for all
total.
three.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Full nay.
Okay, so they're taking a step down in legal services. I want to restore that. Richardson, aye. Let's see. So, Mary, we've reached the raises. I want to ask some questions first because not knowing the context, these just appear unsustainable to me, but I want to question, I know the assessor is doing a great job. Did she move up in role responsibilities and levels as an assessor to receive a 25% raise, a raise of
That's
14,000?
That's misleading only because her rate was increased earlier this year, and her rate was increased to 64.9 per year. So her increase essentially is 6%.
She went from being
She
the
got
assistant assessor
a step
to
up
being the assessor.
In
Yes.
responsibilities and then
Yes.
received a 6% raise. Okay, so for highway secretary, it also appears that it's a total between refuse stipend and her base salary increase. These are two different sections, so the highway secretary is A 000-5010-1011, 00. It looks like a $5,000 increase, or 10%. And then the refuse stipend, which is SR 00-8160, 1060, 00. That's an increase of $4,035, which is a total combined of $9,000, or a raise of 20%. I remember that this is the same employee that received a comparable raise last year. Mary, was it 25% last year?
I think it was 20,
So your microphone's off.
oh, sorry. I think it was 20%, but I can't remember exact numbers.
My point on this is that you've reduced the capital budget, improvement budget, the road improvement budget. You've slashed it in half from 200,000, which has always been allotted for road improvements, to $100,000, or sorry, from $260,000 to $100,000. So you're giving a raise to, I don't believe this is a civil service position, right? It's a political appointment or a
It's an-
discretionary appointment?
Confidential secretary to the highway superintendent. So if you have an issue with it, you need to speak to Mr. Brown.
Well, he has an issue with the fact that you're reducing his capital improvement budget, and he asked for $200,000 for road improvements. So I don't see the logic in increasing to a 25% raise to someone who's overseeing less projects in the town.
A lot of that 265 was from Larkin Drive. So Larkin Drive is not being paved. The projects have been decreased. When I spoke to Mr. Brown last week, he was fine with that
Spoke to him
number.
this morning. He asked for
Okay.
$200,000, and he asked that it be restored, so that's an easy
Well,
thing.
then, if he asked that it should be restored, he should be here then.
Well, he asked me, and I am here, so
That's not the
he
conversation I
also
had with him.
put it in the budget asks in writing for the departmental asks.
Making a motion?
I'll make a motion to allocate $200,000 for road improvements. That's line DB 00511044000, and then another 00.
One more second.
Call the question.
Am I?
Cancarello, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Full nay.
They've now put on the record that they are not allocating money for road improvements at the ask of the highway superintendent. So I'm going to say Richardson, aye, to allocate that money.
Madam Clerk, please note that I did have a conversation with Bill Brown, and he's well aware that the $100,000 was sufficient.
You literally just said that on the record 1 minute ago, and then I answered you with my on-the-record comments, and I could read out the text message from this morning if you want.
What's your next item?
So I'm going to make a motion. Let's see. No, I'm not making a motion. 1 second. I'm just reading something. So we are just also raising the tax collector salary by $1,000 or 20%, when even Anne Marie had suggested that we reduce this cost by using a collection box, which can save the town money overall.
Marie who?
Morris?
When did she say that?
Say that.
I went around to every single department when I was first elected and asked what could be changed in the town to improve functioning, and they gave me ideas within their own departments and others.
We still have to process all of those things. You're just having them deposited into a box. It still has to be taken out, processed. It still has to be kept. That doesn't,
I don't think Anne Marie would have said that.
no.
Ask her.
There's a lot that goes
We
into
will.
tax collection, that if you're not doing that actual job, you have no idea what's entailed with it.
Well, I'm sure whoever we appoint as tax collector will know what they're doing. So the building inspector has
So
received...
let's go back to the tax collector.
Page.
The tax collector is line A00133010101000.
2.
Bottom of 2 and top of 3.
Okay, so what I would like to do, because I think Val was unfairly bulked in with the elected officials on this dais, what I would like to do is to give her a 6% raise on her salary and include it in a tax collector personal services. And there were minimum cuts that were made to accommodate that, so it didn't affect the increase or the decrease. Bottom line.
So you're saying that
I'll make a motion to increase it to $9,425.
discussion, you're saying that you illegally used the tax collector position, which is appointed at the discretion of the incoming board, to give a raise to an elected official, which is decided through a public hearing before the budget, and you just put it on the record that you used it intentionally for that.
First off, it's not illegal. Why don't you ask counsel if it's illegal?
I honestly don't want to get into your political battle, so you guys, if I hear something I need to address, I will.
Thank you, Brian. Anyway, if you want to allocate more money to the tax collector, you made your motion. Who seconded?
Sal did. Call the question.
Bingham, nay.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Richardson, nay. The building inspector got an 8% raise. I have really no problem. Ben does a great job. It's just the fact that there should be consistent raise guidance. So the assistant building inspector also got an 8% raise. There's a cut to dial-a-ride. I would like some more context before I get into this. I just want to make sure that, because we don't have much context in this spreadsheet. So it's A0056301010-01. It looks like a cut to dial-a-ride administrative position and an overall cut to dial-a-ride by $80,000.
That other administration line is for the contract, which states that a driver with additional duties would fill in and get an increase.
Sorry, could you expand on, you're saying that you allocated it to the head bus driver line instead of, like, because it's 91,000 in 2025 adopted and it's reduced to 25,100?
So the head bus driver's portion was allocated from the 1020 line, dial-a-ride driver full-time.
Question, is that head bus driver position able to do administrative duties, such as dispatch?
So, I'm sorry, you didn't answer the question that I posed.
Yes, he is.
I'm talking about the 5630-1010-01, which is other administration. It went from 91 to 25. Can you explain the drop?
Said it's got to do driver with additional duties, which essentially became the head bus driver and the dispatcher.
So if you take a look, there was nothing in the budget for 2025 for the head bus driver.
And then when I said, is that what happened, you said, no, the head bus driver came from the 1020 line.
Yes,
Right, so we added the head bus driver in, which is taking over most of the other administrative duties that would have been done in 2025, right? So that was reduced, and then the head bus driver was originally in the full-time driver roster. So that's why that line went down, to accommodate that head bus driver.
So it's being taken from both the
Yes.
line that I'm questioning and the line that you're...
Yes.
Okay, that answers the question. That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't need to be restored because we have an employee that's basically performing dual functions and the tasks have been reallocated, correct?
What's your next one?
All right, so like I had already mentioned, the contingent account decreases from $50,000 to $30,000. So that's A 000-1990, quadruple 000. And I'm going to make a motion to restore the contingent account to $50,000.
Bingham will second.
Question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarolo, nay.
Cardone, nay.
Poole, nay.
So they put on the record that they are giving a brand-new board less wiggle room that they've given themselves. So I'm going to say, I want to restore the contingent account. There's cuts to key expenses we already mentioned, like road improvements. You've returned that down. And then, can someone explain this unrealistic expense drop that looks like a 50% drop in healthcare? So it's across two lines. It's B 000, 9060, 8000, 00. Looks like it's a negative $72,000.
Can you read those lines again?
Yes, B 000, 9060, 8000. 9060. I'm gonna get there myself.
11.
1,000 is page 11, under employee benefits, it's hospital and medical insurance. Looks like there's a large $72,000 cut.
Notice it went down from 24 to 25. And if you look at what we've spent through 10-15, that's the reason for that cut.
So this
Sometimes
was an
medical bills
individual employee that we're not really supposed to talk about personnel-related medical. Is it contingent on?
Insurance.
Yes, but do we have the type of plan that it's not a flat rate to ensure all of our employees? It changes with need-based? Were there less
Not
employees?
necessarily.
Are there less employees?
There might be less hours in the formula that was in the B code, in the B fund.
Does this affect full-time and part-time employees as well?
Full-time and part-time employees, highway?
In general, every single department? Like the building inspector had a part-time secretary for a while.
I'm going to tell you, that's a question really for Roberta. But
Unless
I-
we are changing plan, I mean, health coverage is projected to increase in costs in the coming years. So,
It's been tracking downward, you can see that.
yes, but in the global scheme of things, health coverage costs are projected to increase. So I wouldn't want to make, again, you're budgeting here for what you expect could be spent, not what is going to be spent, and to reduce health coverage for employees, that's a little worrisome. This was a $14,000, drop from 2024 to 2025, and now you're dropping it by $72,000.
Tony's calling Roberta right now.
Okay.
In the B fund, hospital and medical insurance went from 148K to 76K. Is that? No, I'm not putting her on speaker.
I don't even know if this is allowed for open meetings law.
All right. Yep, thank you. Only 2 employees that have insurance, that's why, in the B fund.
Only 2 employees in the B fund. So what about in the DA, the other side of it, DA 00? 9060. And 96,
That-
8,000.
That trended down also.
Well,
You are trending it down.
It trended up, but if you take a look at what we've spent so far, it's based on, this is a formula that Roberta uses based on the number of employees who are taking advantage of the health insurance. So what will often happen is employees will get married, and then they'll take their spouse's insurance.
Okay, so that's a good point to make, because there's going to be people leaving, new part-time electeds coming on who may choose to take the
Family plan, correct.
Health
And
plan.
You actually had two employees that just recently got married, and I don't know if they're taking, if they had single plan before, and now they're going to family plan. And as Councilwoman Richardson said too, there's a possibility new employees that are going to be hired might want to take that family plan, which does cost the town more money.
Well, Roberta's been spot on with her budgeting.
Right,
So
but
I'm
this
gonna
is
trust
a
Roberta with this number.
current figure. This is not a, Roberta is great at implementing the systems and finances that are ongoing. Roberta is not responsible for policy changes that then lead to different budgeting. She's tracking and cutting and projecting, and I still don't understand how we're getting, there was a $14,000 drop, like Cardone said. Now we're dropping it in the beef side, 72,000, and the explanation is there's only two.
Yes.
So we're someone left, and is that position needing to be filled? What's going on there? There's only two. How many were there when it was budgeted higher? Do we have that?
I
It's only
I
two
don't have
when-
that number for you, no.
That would, this seems like a vital operating cost that we cannot under budget for employees'
And this
health
is not,
insurance.
this is not a number that we came
Yeah,
up with.
we don't-
This is
we-
a
we-
number that Roberta gives us based on what she knows about next year's health care.
But Roberta can't know personnel changes or people she doesn't know coming in.
Nobody knows that.
But we do know that there's an opportunity for those people to opt in. So that's what I'm saying, is to under budget health insurance when you're having personnel changes seems like an irresponsible thing.
What's your next item?
Just the fact that it's an $890,000 withdrawal from the fund balance to create a negative 2% tax decrease, or a negative 2% tax levy townwide, while also taxing inside the village at basically 2%. So this allocation seems completely off. You can choose to increase the tax levy, give more contingency, give more leeway for personnel, give more leeway for benefits, and have a reasonable, even a 0% would be preferable, a no increase. But it still does not sit well with me that the village is receiving a 2% increase, because as we've talked about allocation between funds, the town is supposed to do everything that it can to supplement the village residents first, who are already being taxed at a higher rate because their municipal budget is handled by the trustees with the village, so they are being essentially double taxed. So there's already an existing formula.
We're
Not
not
being
being double
double
taxed.
taxed.
I'm a village taxpayer. We're not being double taxed. We're paying a
Paying a town,
portion,
and you're paying the village tax.
we're paying a portion of the town, and we're paying the whole village. Whereas residents who live outside of the villages are paying the whole town tax. So when you add the two of them together, my village taxes and my part-town taxes, when you add those two together, they're very close to what the town residents pay, who are living outside of the villages.
You're saying you're incorporating Neil Dwyer and the Village of Monroe's budget.
If I add the Village of Monroe's budget to what I pay to the town of Monroe, I am relatively close to what residents who live in the unincorporated town of Monroe are paying. It's not the same dollar amount, but it's relatively close.
All I'm saying
And you
is,
get a lot more services, such as
Yeah.
police.
We do get more services, so it is a little bit more, but it's not, I'm not paying double.
No one said you're paying double.
You just
You're being
said it.
just
double
said that.
taxed. You're being applied to taxes,
And that was my
not
choice
double
when I
the rate.
purchased in the village of Monroe.
Oh my Christ.
I opted to buy into a water system and a police department. I opted that when my husband and I moved up here.
No, I don't know if everybody reads municipal law and buys inside the village, but if they did, then the municipal law says that the town is supposed to do everything it can to allocate a lower tax rate inside the village on the part of the town than the town-wide.
Okay, so here's part of that problem. So part of the problem is the minus in the B fund is due to the fact that Water District 14, which was just approved by the state this past summer, has to pay back the town, which loaned it money, $577,000 or so, to that tune. And it's got to pay it back next year. So that's where that negative comes into
That's
play.
not true at all. You're saying that the entire tax levy of the town is contingent about paying a loan back from a water district? Explain that.
I just did, and you don't understand it, so I'm done.
You set the tax rate for the entire town. You can literally make this an increase of 10%. You could make it 5%. You could make it 0. You could make it negative 100. You can make it.
When you have
Whatever.
that opportunity, you do
You're
with
lying
it
to the
what
public.
you like.
You're lying.
How are
to the
we
I'm not
lying
lying
to
to
the
the
You
public.
can set this rate on every single thing. This is what we do line by line to show our work of what justifies this tax rate. But at the end of the day, you set this tax rate of how much tax you're going to levy, and everything, whether we toggled up or down the fund balance, if we're going to draw $1.5 million out of the fund balance, if we're going to take 0 out of the fund balance, that would influence the tax rate. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying, that we're owed a loan and
Yes.
you're setting the tax rate at -2.
No, in the B fund. Obviously, you don't understand. This is your
I'm
second
talking about the
go-around with a
tax rate.
budget,
I'm
and you
talking about the
didn't.
tax rate for the town.
Really only on
This
first.
is, it's really only first, because she didn't vote last
So,
year.
This is comically bad.
even if you had to move money out of the fund balance, which is very healthy, you have an extraordinarily healthy fund balance.
That's great.
Even if you were to move all of the money that you needed to put these lines up, you're talking about $231,000. That's it. Out of what do we have? 12 million?
Almost 12 million.
Almost
You're
$12 million.
unwilling to do it tonight as a part of the actual budget because why?
Because you did not want, and I was trying to be complacent with you, you did not want the fund balance drawn down. And what maybe you should understand is the fund balance is what taxpayers have already paid. So since they already paid it, they should be entitled to a little offset by drawing some into the budget.
That's ridiculous and
I'm ready to
inappropriate.
vote on
And
the
you
budget.
can change the tax levy and alter the amount drawn from the fund balance at the complete discretion of this board, which should be justified by the financials that we went through line by line.
Can I call the question, Mary?
What's the motion?
The motion is to approve tonight's budget.
Bingham, nay.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cool, aye.
Richardson, nay.
Okay, so moved. Next item.
Supervisor, I would just like to comment that last meeting, you kept public comment open for 10 days, and through yesterday, there were no public comments received.
Thank you. Okay, item 4.2 is a motion to open the continuation of a public hearing regarding local law A-V1/2025 to amend Article 6, Chapter 53 concerning material used for water pipes in the town of Monroe, and adding Chapter 54 communal water systems. I'll make that motion.
Cool, second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cool, aye.
Richardson, aye.
No public comment.
So we're still waiting for the planning board to review. Dave Fritz and Matt Sickler met. Matt Sickler was going to take that information back to the planning board. The planning board, I believe, is meeting tomorrow night. So for the December 1st meeting, we should have a reply from Bonnie Franson, the planning board chair, as to what her feelings are with Article 11 and Chapter 53 and 54. It's actually Article 11 that they need to address, because
I
that's part
spoke
of
to
the
Bonnie
zoning.
today, so they're good with basically putting language in that Article 11 to basically refer to Chapter 53 and 54, so that we could remove the content and just indicate that the reader should refer to those two chapters for the rules. So I think we're good for December 1st to adopt.
Okay, so if you would prepare the resolution for that next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing regarding local law A-V1 of 2025 to amend Article 6, Chapter 53 concerning material used for water pipes in the town of Monroe, and adding Chapter 54 at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter on December 1st.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Item 5.1 is the acceptance of the November 6, 2025 minutes. I'll make a motion to approve them.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
Up is the fund abstract, item 6.1. And I'll make this motion that the town board of the town of Monroe requests approval of abstract number 25-19, general fund containing checks 37468 through 37523, totaling $294,242.34.
That's not the number I have.
No.
I have 25-20 for the general fund. Check numbers 37524 through 37587.
I'm actually reading, sorry.
So 25-20.
Yeah, 25-20. All right, you want to read it?
Yes. So I make a motion that the board approve the general fund abstract of audit vouchers 25-20, including checks numbered 37524 through 37587 in the amount of $521,626.81.
I'll second.
Question?
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, abstract 6.2. It's the escrow abstract. Be it resolved that the town board of Town of Monroe requests approval of abstract 25-16 escrow fund containing check number 2516?
22.
No.
2250.
Where are you guys getting that?
The actual abstract has the correct check number.
You had the right, it had the right abstract number, 25-16. I think that doubled. The abstract number doubled as the check numbers.
$1,072.50.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's check number 2256.
Yep.
Who will second?
Question?
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Who will aye?
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Next up, item 7.1 is a resignation of Jack Collins from the Board of Ethics. I'll make a motion accepting the resignation of Jack Collins from the Board of Ethics effective December 31, 2025. Jack read a letter at last meeting regarding his resignation, so we're accepting it this evening. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Just wanted to read into the record what an Article 78 proceeding is. It's a lawsuit in New York that allows a court to review an action or inaction by a local government body or an officer. It can be used to challenge decisions that are unlawful, arbitrary, capricious, or not based on substantial evidence. And these proceedings can also be used to compel an official to act or prohibit them from acting beyond their authority. So the complete misconception and misstatement by the individual who's resigning. It indicates that perhaps they weren't prepared for municipal service in the first place. It's a complete mundane action. Even our planning board chairwoman right now is appealing a decision in front of the ZBA that was
Talking
issued
about
by
Mr.
our
Collins'
own
resignation.
building inspector. So using the court system is no threat, no personal injury, and no hardship upon one's master or one's family. So I will accept that resignation. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Jack for his years of service.
Supervisor, if there's no objection, could I ask the board to take 7.6 with O&R as council's here, just if
Yes.
there were any questions? That's the O&R Forest Avenue.
Did we accept his resignation?
Did not vote on it.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardona, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, I apologize, Leslie.
7.6.
Yeah,
The Orange and Rockland Forest Avenue substation.
To figure out a way to get. Oh. I don't know if there's a
You're
way that we
still
can.
saving $4,000.
But we're spending it
We're
in
saving-
paper.
Each individual file, it's a lot.
going
I should have
Forest
said,
Avenue.
sorry. It's 5 and 6, sorry.
It's 5 and
There's
6,
the-
yeah, yeah.
The stormwater control facility.
Okay.
agreement.
I'll make a motion, no, you have to make it, Dory.
I do.
Because I have to
Okay.
sign it.
Can I see it?
Yep.
Are we looking at 5
Okay.
first?
7.5 Forest Avenue, Forest Street Stormwater Control Facility Maintenance Easement Agreement. I'd like to make a motion authorizing the town supervisor to execute a stormwater control facility maintenance easement agreement with Orange and Rockland Utilities concerning the property known as Forest Avenue, Forest Street, Town of Monroe, New York, and referred to on the tax map of the town as Section 1, Block 2, Lot 43, in the form presented to the town board and previously approved by town legal counsel. I have a second. I made a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Call a question?
Aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Sal seconded. Cardona, aye.
Pool, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Item 7.6 is the Forest Avenue substation recommended for performance security. So MHE has reviewed the project plans with Karen Arendt and have calculated the tree planting mitigation fee to be $31,500. They recommend a performance security that's $31,500. They recommend a performance security of $25,000. The local wetland conditions 21, 22, and 28 require performance, restoration, security, and escrow fees. The wetland mitigation cost is in the amount of $223,068. They've reviewed that estimate with the planning board wetland consultant and recommend the performance security in that amount. They also recommend an escrow, meaning MHE recommends an escrow be established in an initial amount of $5,000 to cover post-construction monitoring of wetland mitigations.
Have the condition 7?
11?
7,
No, I didn't do condition 11.
okay.
Requires the applicant to furnish performance, restoration, and maintenance guarantees for compliance with the landscaping and tree plan. The applicant's revised estimate for compliance with landscaping, tree removal, protection, and tree planting is $158,748. MHE recommends the initial performance security be established in that amount. Upon completion of this work, the security can be reduced to $50,000 for maintenance for a 2-year period, and they recommend that escrow in the amount of $1,500 be established for inspection fees. Specific condition 7 requires the payment of inspection fees and posting performance and restoration securities related to stormwater and erosion control measures. The project site work estimate associated with access, stormwater management, and erosion control facilities is $523,893, which should be the amount of security posted. MHE also recommends a 5% inspection fee and an escrow of $26,185 to cover inspections throughout construction. So I'll make that motion.
Who will second?
Discussion? And O&R give us separate checks for all of these. I don't want the tree mitigation fees to be mixed up by mistake. It would just make it easier if every single section there has its own check from O&R.
Do you have a problem with that? No, okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Item 7.2 is the thank you very much, is the GovWell software for the building department. The building department had asked for a new software program, which was put in the budget, so I'm asking for approval. I mean, it's approved in the budget. Department's part.
I mean, this is the service that they want to go with, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it just says that it's a discussion.
Swapping out one software for another, correct? He's swapping one software for another.
Yes.
Yeah.
Looks like
When will
there's a
that year
resolution.
start?
What's that?
I said it looks like there's a resolution associated with this.
Already in the
No.
budget.
The budget, so.
No, I'm looking at, he has a total one-year cost. It's showing as discussion and an action item.
guess
So
we
I
do
don't know
have
if it
to-
needs to be voted on.
I think, yes.
Well, who's signing the contract with them? Is the supervisor signing the contract with them? And do we have the contract yet?
That I don't
No,
know.
we don't.
So if we don't have the contract yet, there's
Yeah.
nothing for us to do. This might be one of the first things that the next board has to do. In which case,
No, because I thought Ben said somewhere it had to be signed by November 30th.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so make a motion.
so I'd like to make a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract with GovWell in the amount of, I just had it,
20, this is total one-year cost, is that what you want to approve? Because it's
Yes.
25,000.
in the amount of, total one-year cost $25,000 for the GovWell software.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye?
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool eye, sorry.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, item 7.4 is the return of planning board ZBA escrow funds. Dory, do you want to read this?
We need 7.3.
Next.
Okay.
Okay, so 7.4, return of planning board ZBA escrow funds. I make a motion that we refund for project Z005-2009 for the project that has no activity since 2010. The amount to return is $2,508.50. And then we have another project, Z099-2025, which has been completed and the approval has been given. The final bill was paid to the attorney. The amount to return for that is $1,211.19. Project 16-006 has no activity since 2016. The amount of that refund is $1,502.50. Project 0168-2018, that project was completed and final bills were paid. The amount to be returned was $298.74. And project 0205-2022, Z073-2022, and I-008-2025. That project has been completed. All vouchers were processed to accounts, And the amount of that refund is $1,152.88. I make a motion that we return those
second.
funds.
Can you also read the names associated with those projects, please?
Sure. So the project that has had no activity since 2010 is Tony Cardone. The project that has been completed and all bills have been paid, Z099-2025, is Michael Dye, or D. The project 16-006 is Hamaspic of Orange County. They've had no activity since 2016. Project 0168-2018 is Glenn Schaefer. And project 0205-2022, Z073-2022, and I008-2025 is Homeland Towers, and all of that has been paid out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have a second? Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cancarella, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, item 7.3 is the request for proposal from legal services for the town of Monroe. Council?
Oh, this is put on, obviously, we've communicated with the board with respect to the town board and the Board of Ethics that we'll be withdrawing December 31st, but we could still, and I thought it would be beneficial for at least the supervisor-elect and the incoming board members to be able to have the town board issue an RFP for legal services now, so that in December, they can be reviewed by the incoming board, and then in January be ready to put new counsel in place. On other matters, we're obviously going to have to transition out of court matters. There has to be substitutions, but this is primarily, the RFP should be for anything and everything that the incoming board wants to obtain proposals on. So we can certainly provide a similar proposal in draft that is similar to what the towns used previously for legal services. And then Councilman Richardson and the incoming board can look at that, and then maybe on December 1st, or even authorize it tonight, and then once it's approved, issue it so that you can get the responses back in December. And this board wouldn't be making the selection, but at least the responses would be here in preparation for January for the new board to appoint counsel. So that's what the motion is for, or the resolution would be to authorize the issuance of that RFP in a form satisfactory to Councilwoman Richardson and or the incoming board members, and to authorize the clerk to set issuance and return dates for that RFP so that you'll have those responses back in time to look at them.
Who will Councilwoman Richardson work with in order to create that RFP?
Well, again, I can provide the draft, and then, honestly, that's up to the councilwoman. I can work with her on it. She can discuss it, I believe, with the incoming board members, since they're the ones that are going to be affected by it.
Considering that this doesn't prevent any professional service coming in at our discretion, it's completely at our discretion, but it encourages a competitive bid process. We are open to this, so we'll just get the draft, look at the language, and we also need this for the openings because the January reorg has vacancies innate to the town, so we would also like to post those openings as they have been on the town website previously from years past. And also it's been announced that obviously the secretary to the supervisor is a discretionary appointment, and they've decided as well to leave. So
Well,
the
she
same-
hasn't, do we have a resignation from her? No. So
It was announced on a public
Her term
radio
goes through
station.
12/31/2025.
It was announced on a public radio station that she's leaving, so you're going to say that we have to wait until she's completely gone to put out
no,
a job
that's your
No, that's
discretion.
right,
You
yeah.
can, but
But
I
we'd
mean,
like
she
to
hasn't
have a
announced
posting
anything.
through the town is what I'm saying, yes. So we'd like to have those all posted, and I'm happy to work with Brian or the clerk.
Yeah,
It
and
should
I'm-
be
I should-
separate, that should
They're
be
separate,
separate
they're
motions.
separate, yes, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, we weren't saying, obviously, in our attorney services, like engineers, anything else, are not low bid type things. They're professional services. So you get your proposals and you pick who you like. You're not bound to the lowest price. So that's the process for that. As far as the other positions, that's up to the board. If you want to just authorize the RFPs and postings as requested by, Councilwoman Richardson and the incoming board, we can do that too. These aren't things that are being approved, they're just seeking, responses from people or entities. So if you want to make it more broad of a resolution, we can do that too, to encompass what Councilman Richardson's bringing up.
But what I think I'd like to do tonight is make sure that we get the RFP going so that they have plenty of time to review those. So do we have to set the response date tonight?
No, my suggestion was we do the resolution that would authorize the issuance of the RFP for legal services, working with Councilman Richardson, and then authorizing the clerk to set the issuance and response dates so that we don't have to decide that tonight. The
Right.
clerk can do that, which is typically what we do for those anyway. So if you want to just deal with that first, you can do a motion to authorize that RFP.
Yeah, sorry, did someone make the motion, or do we have to make? I'll
No,
make that
not yet.
motion. I'll make that motion.
Bingham will
Do I have to
second.
repeat what you said?
Call
or
the
can I just-
question.
Bingham, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool, aye.
Richardson, aye. And then I'd like to, is it appropriate to designate the postings through the clerk? That's what I'm trying to ascertain for the, they're public postings, that there's natural vacancies on the planning board, natural vacancies in the alternate positions, all be posted.
Do you want to make that December 1st? This way you have time to take a look at exactly which positions? You don't have to do it tonight. We have another meeting.
I've looked at them. If you would like a comprehensive list, because that's not readily on hand, you'd have to go over to the appointments pages, and they're all on separate pages from terms, but it's in the reorg meeting. I can copy and paste every position that's going to be up for reappointment.
I guess my question is, do I need letters of resignation from those departments first, or how?
No, it's,
How does that work?
their terms ending and
term's
some,
ending.
the term is ending, and we'd like to just compare everybody's experience, solicit resumes from the public, publish that these positions are open to the public. They're mostly, they're some volunteer, some slight pay, so it would be good to solicit public engagement and make sure that people have an opportunity to apply, and then we would consider the most experienced and best fit candidate. So I think that the opening should be posted in advance of the reorg meeting, which is in January. I don't think you need a resignation letter from a naturally ending appointment.
We'll work with,
Yeah, on the RFP? Yeah.
I want to make a motion to take a break, 5-minute recess.
Okay.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool, aye.
Richardson, aye. So does that go through for the normal postings for the vacancies and the alternates?
What? Got a 6%? What? That got 12%. Eight that they get. Call Roberta. Call Roberta. Oh, we gave him. Okay, I'll make a motion to return to the town board meeting of November 6th.
Bingham to second.
Call the
Number
question.
17.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool, aye.
Second that?
Mary seconded that.
You need a modification for the date, or it's fine, Bella?
The date is the 17th.
17th.
Richardson, aye.
7.7, approval to release the escrow for the road opening new driveway permit on 12 Edgewood Drive. The Highway Department is requesting approval to release the remaining portion of the escrow held for road opening driveway permit 2024-2, located at 12 Edgewood Drive. The original bond amount was $3,000. The contractor has since completed all work. Some of it was left in unsatisfactory condition for more than a week, requiring our Highway Department to stabilize the road and add some material. So as a result, a portion of the bond was retained by the town. So based on this inspection and expenses incurred by the town, the Highway Department recommends releasing $2,473.18 of the original escrow.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, item 7.8 is the release of the performance bond for Strauss Lane LLC, 24-26 Strauss Lane, SBL 3-1-19.2. That was for the Verizon Wireless Homeland Towers. So Matt Sickler visited the site on September 16th, and he said that based on that, on his site visit, the work appears to be established. The seeding work appears to be established. The culverts referenced in the certificate of compliance appear to be installed in accordance with the approved plans, and he recommends that the performance bond provided to guarantee this work can be released. I do not have a number on that. So. Ryan, I'm going to make a motion authorizing it to be released upon approval of you speaking to Ben on it. Second,
I'll second.
call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, so moved. Item 8.1, public comment. 8.2, public comment.
I'm going to read the first speaker, followed by the second speaker. When you come up to the mic, please announce your name, speak clearly, and just please do not touch the mic. You'll have 3 minutes for public comment. First speaker is Carol Soteropoulos.
The mic is already turned on.
I'm sorry, second speaker will be Liam Weishart.
Carol Soteropoulos. Good evening. I actually signed up for public comment because I thought it was going to be would be on the agenda pertaining to the study of the police or the conversations that are being had with the village police, because at the last meeting, I thought I heard that those discussions were ongoing and that there would be details released tonight. And that's actually why I came. But I'm like very disturbed at what I've encountered at this meeting, which is that the budget, which I thought I heard a lot about 2 weeks ago, on October 20th, maybe it was longer ago, October 20th, I think, there was a presentation that took over an hour, and I thought that it was resolved what the budget would be. And now I'm hearing as though it's the 11th hour, that all of a sudden there are a lot of changes and there hasn't been the degree of transparency that I would have expected for the public to be able to respond before votes are taken and the budget is in force. And so I'm really disturbed. It seems that there's a pattern here of having reduced the budget for some services that I am happy to be taking advantage of, that I'm entitled to as a resident of the town. And now I'm hearing that they're being cuts all over the place from what I thought I heard on October 20th. So I don't want to say that this is irresponsible. I don't know what other word to use. It's very disturbing. And I'm wondering if there's any kind of redress that can be made, before you're saying, okay, the next group that comes in, the next team, the next board in January, to try to address this through some channels. I have no idea. I'm not an expert in the budget. I don't have the budget in front of me. I'm hoping that other people here who might know more about the details will be able to speak to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Liam Weishart, followed by Dan Burke.
Hi, Liam Weishart, 279 Harriman Heights Road. Obviously, there's nothing that can be done about the budget at this point, but I was concerned when I read the budget, that the board is making that 2% tax decrease when the town is servicing $1.4 million in debt from the Rye Hill purchase, the All Mine purchase, and the town hall renovations. It just seems like it would be fair to the taxpayers to gradually increase taxes over time in order to eventually, handle that debt, which is currently being handled partially by fund balance, instead of leaving the next board to presumably have to raise taxes significantly, more as a shock to the residents. So that's all.
Dan Burke, followed by Louis Rivera.
Yeah, Dan Burke, Elder State, Rye Hill Road, Village of Monroe, Town of Monroe. And I've had this experience before because when I was a lame duck, we were looking at this building right here. Should we buy this or not? And we decided we'd wait for the incoming new administration. They could make that decision. So we negotiated a lease with the option to buy. And matter of fact, before we even signed that, we talked to the candidates, Mr. Cardone, Mr. McGinn, to make sure that they were on it with us. So a little bit of graciousness, which I really didn't see tonight. One of the possibilities here is you could go into executive session to talk about employee salaries, talk to the incoming town supervisor and see what you can do to make the budget for the town of Monroe, the people that voted for her, people didn't vote for her, that you're talking about the town of Monroe, not a candidate, and see if you can find a few ways to make January a little bit more comfortable for the people of Monroe. And one thing, when I took the oath of office, fund balance, the town of Monroe was $5 million. And when I left office, town balance was $5 million. I think I should thank Don Weeks for having that fund balance, but I can thank myself for not blowing it. And good night, and thank you.
Louis Rivera, followed by Beth Stevens.
Hi, Louis Rivera, resident of the Village of Monroe. Just want to say that you reduced the secretary to the supervisor's salary by $10,000. You took away $18,000 of a budget officer salary from the supervisor. Some employees, receive 6% to 25% raises. I just want to go on the record and say that the new board will be forced to revise the budget, the preliminary budget, and make modifications. And we're going to have to use the fund balance. So that's it.
Beth Stevens, followed by Krista Villa.
Hello, I'm Beth Stevens. I'm a resident of the town. I come here very, very disappointed. Really struggled with what tone I would use tonight because I'm furious, but I want to be a good example. After the last board meeting, where I took the time to share my knowledge on how to properly look at putting together a policing force, which is something we can all agree on, is something that we need. Otherwise, you would not have been looking at it. You did not bother to include even the needs assessment cost in this budget. After the last meeting, I cannot tell you how many residents around the town reached out to me and said, look what happens when someone just comes and speaks facts and speaks clearly, professionally. They'll listen. They'll be open to it. You proved all those people wrong. You're not hurting the incoming town board. You're hurting the people of Monroe. You're hurting these people in this room. You could have kept money in there for a policing force. I'm going to keep working on it. I'm still going to do what's right for these people. But this is your legacy. They're not going to remember anything else. They're not going to remember anything you did for the last 8, 10 years, however long you've been serving. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go person by person. They're going to remember that you presented a budget on the 6th. And it's evident that that's the budget that you planned on working with because it was right after the election. And for you to just go slashing it to the degree that you did, again, you're not hurting me. You're not hurting Mary. You're not hurting Louis. I don't know, you might be hurting Sal. I had hoped that there would be some opportunity to work across the aisle. You showed something different tonight. And I wish there was a way that I could say, let's do another public hearing, let's try and bring this back to the table. But yes, it's due to the comptroller in 3 days, so this is your legacy. That is all.
Krista Villa, followed by Audra Schwartz.
Hi, Krista Villa, Village of Monroe. It's the first town hall or town meeting I've ever been to, and I regret not having come to earlier ones. I'm dumbfounded by what I saw today, okay, to be honest with you. I think the slashing of these funding line items are basically, I'm trying to modulate and modify my initial ire, but I think it's basically a big tantrum on the outgoing board, a scorched earth policy out of spite to hamstring the new incoming board. I think it's mean-spirited. I think it's shameful. I wouldn't even dare try to shame you because I don't think you have any. I can tell you this, I will be at every single one of these going forward. And I will speak my mind. I think it's an outrage. I mean, you guys sound like flat earthers. It's abominable. And I'm trying to find the vernacular that keeps my temperature down because I'm so outraged at everything I heard. I mean, cutting budgets and slashing funding based on projections by someone who is a task handler, not a policymaker. Reducing insurance for people based on what projection? What? Whose projection? The person that implements policy, not person who makes policy. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It sounds like amateur hour, to be honest with you. Amateur hour. And I'll be here to speak, and to be honest with you, I'm very glad that there is a change in this board. Because from what I heard tonight, I am fully at peace with my vote. And that is for the new incoming board. I don't even know what to say. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Audra Schwartz.
I think I'm going to keep it brief. Yes, Audra Schwartz, Town of Monroe resident. I come here wearing two hats as always, right? And so I have to be a little different in that I'm a community member, but I'm also a town justice. And so what I say is taken through those lenses. I am disappointed that the budget was passed in the manner it was. Before the election, when the community had not made their decision on who they wanted to lead this town, the budget officer prepared a 45-minute presentation explaining their vision for the budget in great detail. And things have changed drastically, not just because the community voted in the way they did, but because this budget has been altered so significantly without really any explanation from the budget officer. That same 45-minute presentation could have been made now with all these changes, explaining to the community why you have done what you have done. And the fact that I'm here both as a community member and expressing my disappointment, but also as one of your town justices, still scratching my head on what is happening with my own budget because I truly don't understand. It's incredibly disappointing. The community deserved better. And frankly, I'm surprised that you went through all the effort to show the community, your decision-making process and the reasoning, but didn't have the respect and courtesy to do the same tonight after what you have done to the budget you just passed. It's shameful. And the community deserved better, and your departments deserve better. Your employees deserve better. Everyone in this building deserved better, and everyone out there deserved better. And yeah, I've known you for a long time, and I mean, a lot of what you've done has shocked me in the past, but this one is kind of beyond. And I'm becoming community member Audra Schwartz instead of town justice, so I'm going to call it right there.
That's all for public comment.
Excuse me, Brian, do the rules have a subsec where I just want to I want to read an email that I was given, but I also want to respond? Is that the same bump out for public hearing that I'm able to use 3-minute as a community member?
Statement that should, podium, if it's, you mean a residence email you're reading?
No, it's a board business, but I'm happy to get up and read it from the podium, but it'd be a little
It's hard
bizarre.
for me to answer without knowing
It's the
what-
email that I forwarded you earlier about the flagship.
Oh, all right, I know, I think you can read that. The board has no objection, or you want to respond or address it as part of public
I'm just
comment?
asking if I have a bump out to use my board comments, and then everyone can respond to public comments as normal, in the same way that we can also participate in a public hearing and then also respond to public hearing participants.
I mean, it's honestly up to the board. It's hard for me, in other words, you have obviously the opportunity to respond to the public comments. It's already in the rules. The other sounds like a new business sort of item, but
I just wanted to read it into the record because there's no motion or anything on it. It's just a important factoid for the public.
my recommendation would be we first respond to the public comments, if there is any, and then take this up.
I don't, was this email sent to all of us, or was it only
No,
sent to you?
that's why I want to read it out and.
Should you
Yeah.
share it with the board?
No, it's not relevant.
Who's it from?
It's from, I think you got it today as well. Were you included on it? And
I forwarded after
Yeah.
you sent it. It's
Yeah.
the
It's
theater
Paul
email.
Wenger. I mean, I'm just going to read it at this point. So
What?
basically.
From the theater.
It's just saying, regrettably, our Monroe location has been particularly slow to rebound. This is in regards to Flagship Cinema. Excuse me, this is Paul Wenger of Flagship Cinema. He is the president. So unfortunately, during the entirety of COVID, through the COVID pandemic, our industry continues to face challenges in fully recovering to pre-pandemic performance levels. Regrettably, our Monroe location has been particularly slow to rebound. While we've managed to maintain operations at a break-even point and occasionally achieve a modest profit, these results have not been sufficient to cover any occupancy costs. We fully understand your position, and as such, we are prepared to close the facility on January 1st and vacate the premises shortly thereafter. And we'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the support of Cardone and his administration, who recognize the importance of maintaining a community cinema experience. And on average, our theater welcomed approximately 50,000 guests, contributed to the vitality of the town center, supported neighboring businesses. Despite the many challenges, we remain proud of the efforts made in partnership with Monroe and sustain this cultural and economic contribution. In closing, our goal is to maintain a positive and respectful relationship with your administration. We believe that an open and proactive approach serves all parties best, which is why we wish to discuss our intention to vacate the facility around the start of the new year. And at your earliest convenience, I'd like to schedule a call. So I just want to give one email that I sent, literally Thanksgiving time, to Troy Burnett of the Flagship Cinema, where we had been informed that the Flagship Cinema had never given the town, had never made the town a single cent in profit because they'd never met their break-even point in their contract. And that meant that they were not meeting the contract goals, and when it turned to year 6, 7, they started owing us a monthly rent of about $7,000, if I'm remembering correctly, which meant that they were in non-compliance with their contract, and there was nothing being done. The board had discussed creating a modification of the contract, changing the goals and allowing them to stay, but the fact that nothing was done, no agreement was made, I reached out and I said, the town board is currently in talks, and this is again 2024 in November, in talks about the future of the theater. In order to best understand your financial situation, I would like some copies of expenses and overhead statements. We're seeking to add an addendum to your contract to allow the theater to stay. However, the board agrees that there has to be some kind of financial arrangement to subsidize our costs and goals for the theater to hit in the future. Can you send me what you can from your books to best understand the situation you are dealing with? We can also meet in person to discuss if that would work better for you. Thank you and have a happy Thanksgiving. There was no follow-up, there was no addendum, there was no action, and I was 1 out of 5 board members. I'm not the theater liaison. And then this is the email that I received shortly after the election. So that's all. I just wanted to announce that that is an issue that we will be trying to sit down and discuss. It appears there's no protections, no fees for them to break their contract, despite the fact that we were under the impression there was a licensing agreement that also protected the town. We were wrong. So apparently there's no penalty in them up and leaving. So this is of vital community importance. I just wanted to state that on the record. And then if you want to respond to public comments and
Yes, I really understand what the residents are feeling about the budget, and it's going to be very challenging in the next year. I'm sure there's going to be lots of cooperation around getting needs assessments done, and things are going to hopefully somehow work out, but it's going to take longer than what was originally anticipated. But I really understand the residents' concerns regarding the budget.
Biggest portion that was taken out of the budget was the $750,000 for police services. That money was initially put into the budget when we were in communication with the sheriff's office. That money was not put into the budget, or was it allocated for police services through the Village of Monroe? Carol, I don't know if you were here at our last board meeting, but at that board meeting, we reported that we sat down with the mayor and the chief of police and the police lieutenant and one of the trustees, and he gave us a price of $2.1 million for police services. I have it in writing. He gave us...
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. I asked several times if there was a way that we could negotiate that down, less services, whatever the case may be. In that meeting, we asked for a breakdown of that $2.1 million, and he told us that it would take him 30 days to come up with that breakdown. So obviously, we were not about to budget for $2.1 million. We took the $750,000 out because it was evidently clear that the town did not want the sheriff's office to patrol inside the town. And so we took that money out because we listened and we heard you. When you asked for additional money for reviewing the comp plan, that money was put in. The budget has been trimmed, but this is, and I understand that this is going to be different than the opinion that you have. This is an appropriate budget, and I stand by that.
they denied on the record in a vote my motion to fund a $25,000 to $50,000 police study that I sat for 2 hours today discussing with Paul Arteta, who's trained, competent staff, no matter what you want to say about their policing policies, gave you a $750,000 benchmark for base police services in the intermediate. And then you received a second benchmark figure that set the value of a police IMA. And then you were told it wasn't negotiable, which means it was the base benchmark figure that the village trustees, in their good faith negotiations with the town to provide services, quality policing services to town-wide residents, were willing to give, which probably means it was the best figure you were going to get. You still were provided those base figures and that benchmark to provide a budget for policing services, which you and your supporters, whatever you want to say, your arguments were that this was necessary, that this was needed, that it was could cost lives. So the fact that you know that if we make any moves to negotiate with any municipality for an IMA, that those are the benchmark figures to go from $750,000 to zero when that money was not contractual, it was not obligated. However, budgeting for future projections when you are engaged in negotiations is something that a town board does. So to go from that figure to zero, That is not an appropriate action, that's not an appropriate budget. And to deny a needs-based assessment while going through that negotiation process is not an appropriate action either. So,
There's almost $100,000 in contingency.
there's $50,000.
No,
there
there's
was
multiple
$50,000 and then
contingency lines.
Excuse me,
and then it's
excuse me.
30,000.
There's multiple contingency lines. You have over $100,000 in contingency.
You defunded the police story.
Okay.
No,
You were
we didn't.
endorsed by FOP and you defunded your police
know,
on the
you-
way out.
You
We
can
would have
That's
lay,
your
moved
legacy.
money from
Point of
the
order.
fund balance to the budget
Mm-hmm.
to provide for the village services. The $750,000 was to get us from the start. The sheriff's office could have started immediately. I don't know if Paul told you that today. They could have started immediately.
He actually told me
So-
that you had no data in front of you and that there was no data produced and that he was shocked there was no budget for a needs-based assessment. And he gave me the figure that he highly recommended that we use and budget for. So
And you have that in the budget. You just have to move it from contingency.
that's not how
to-
that works.
Yes, it is how it
No,
works.
it's not. Your
Listen,
contingency
you
is for
can-
contingent issues. If you're expecting a planned, policy-driven action, you budget for it.
And-
Otherwise, we wouldn't budget. We'd say, hey, we have $10 million in the fund balance. We don't need to allocate any funds to let the public know what we're going to do. Why do we even have this piece of paper? We have it in the bank. That's great.
Okay, so if it's in the bank.
Are we done?
You can, if it's
Can we
in-
make a motion to
if-
close the meeting now?
No. If it's. in-
Motion to close the meeting?
He hasn't had his chance.
Oh.
How many minutes does he get?
3.
Three. Put
Three.
3 up.
You have 30 seconds.
What you fail to realize is that you can do a budget amendment very simply next year. It's on you guys. It's not on us. And when we removed the 750 on November 6th, nobody barked at it. Now tonight, everybody's barking at it. I haven't heard one thing, gotten one email, other than from Mary on Friday, where she asked for a $25,000 for a study for the solar farm, which is ludicrous. She asked for $100,000 in a comp plan, which is ludicrous because you're not going to spend $100,000 on a comp plan.
You originally had 110 in there.
But you're not going to spend it in 1 year. It's going to be spent over multiple years. So that's where fund balance comes in. We have a court that has $492,000 in outstanding fines that have not been collected, or it has been an attempt made to collect them.
And do you know how far back some of those go?
Doesn't
They go
matter.
back- yes,
Doesn't
it
matter.
does. It goes back to like 1999.
Doesn't
How
matter.
in the world
There's
do you
a good-
expect people to
there's a
collect
good
stuff?
portion-
That's way past the statute of limitations.
It's my time, Mary. There's a good portion of them that go back to 17 and 18, okay? And no effort has been made to collect it. So you want to complain that we're shameful when you have a court that isn't even making an effort to collect that? That's ludicrous. Please refrain from speaking, okay? So I will say that the text message that was sent out is so stretched that it's a shame that people actually probably believed it. All I can say is that if you get a text message tonight and you got it from Councilwoman Richardson, there, 90% of it is stretched or lied, and there's no reason that some of you that came here tonight probably came here because of the text message, and that's not the truth. We did a budget that was proper for the taxpayer. We did a budget that last year we got chastised for such a large raise. So you're chastising us when it comes in low, you're chastising us when it comes in high. Let's all talk out of both sides of the mouth. Let's say no matter what we do
Your time
is
is
wrong.
up.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Who second that? Who second that motion?